Welcome to the YouTube channel PCMB Tutorials. Today we are going to learn class 9 foundation of subject chemistry. Chapter name is atomic structure. This is our first chapter, atomic structure, and this is part 5. Let's start. We'll start with the interesting topic of discovery of protons by Goldstein. Discovery of proton by Goldstein. Similarly, many discoveries and inventions in science had their origin from simple and small ideas. One such discovery was existence of protons by Goldstein. Goldstein made holes on a cathode plate in the discharge tube. This was the discharge tube. This was the discharge tube, and Goldstein made holes on a cathode plate. This is the cathode plate. He made holes on this, and a high voltage of 10,000 volts. High voltage of 10,000 volts high voltage system source. High voltage source. $10,000 volts. And 0.01 mm of Hg is used and continued the experiments. And 0.01 mm of Hg is used and continued the experiment. He detected some invisible rays. He detected some invisible rays coming out of those holes. He detected invisible rays coming out of those holes, from these holes, from the direction of the anode. From the direction of the anode. Of the anode. He called these rays as anode rays or positive rays. He called those rays as anode rays or positive rays. Anode rays or positive rays. Now, after this rays, a reddish glow appeared to this side. Reddish glow. And over here there was air at very low pressure. Then there was this is called the discharge tube. This is the perforated cathode, and this is to vacuum pump high voltage source, and this is anode. Like this was the structure. Then there are the properties of anode rays. Properties of anode rays. The experiments on anode rays by Goldstein led to the discovery of protons. Let us study the observations and conclusions that led to formulation of properties of anode ray and ultimately the discovery of protons. First activity was an object placed in the path of anode rays. An object placed in the path of anode rays observation was that a sharp shadow is observed behind the object. A shadow can be formed only if anode rays travel in straight lines. Conclusion was that anode rays travel in straight lines and cast the shadows of the object placed in their path. Then, second activity was anode rays were made to fall on a paddle wheel. A paddle wheel, anode rays were made to fall on them. So the observation was the motion in the paddle wheel was observed. Means this paddle wheel start rotating. Then the conclusion was anode ray consists of material particles. So the anode ray consisted of material particles. After that, the third activity did was anode rays were passed through an electric field. Were passed through an electric field. The rays were deflected, so the observation was the rays were deflected towards the negative plate of the electric field. Conclusion was This confirms that these rays consist of positively charged particles. Then the fourth activity done was anode rays were allowed to pass through magnetic field. So the observation was this was the magnetic field. This was the magnetic field and the rays were allowed to pass through it. Rays were allowed to pass through it. Observation was they deflect towards south pole of the magnet. And the conclusion was anode rays deflect in magnetic field too. Fifth point was Goldstein used various gases and found out the charge or mass E/m ratio of these particles. E/m ratio of these particles. So the observation was he observed that the E/m ratios of the positive ray particle were different for different gases. He also observed that the E/m ratio was the maximum for hydrogen. And the conclusion was, as the E/m ratio is the maximum for hydrogen, it can be concluded that the mass of a positive ray particle obtained from hydrogen is the minimum. This minimum mass or the smallest positively charged particle obtained from hydrogen was considered as standard and was named proton. I hope you have understood till this. We have learned the discovery of proton by Goldstein, then properties of anode rays. We have learned 5 points of properties of anode rays. I hope you have understood them. In next part, in part 6 of this chapter, atomic structure, we will learn biodata of a proton. Then we'll see the comparative study of the properties of cathode rays and anode rays. And then we'll move towards the important topic that is discovery of neutron by Chadwick. I hope you've understood till this. Like, this is the foundation of class 9th. We have covered the foundation of class 8th and 7th too. The links are given in the description. Please go and check through it. I hope you've understood till this. Thank you for watching. Thank you.